Is provided to us this month by Reverend Ron. Thank you. Surprise.
Oh, I see it now.
I'll read it once and then we'll read it all together. As the beauty in nature flourishes, I recognize the unity and unique nature of each bloom, each unique and each a pathway to the divine. And together.
As the beauty in nature flourishes, I recognize the unity and unique nature of each bloom, each unique and each a pathway to the divine.
Thank you, everyone. Oh, yeah. Do you want this? I do. Thank you. Do you need this stand? I'll fix it. Good morning again, everyone.
Good morning.
Kiki, I'm so sorry. I have noticed that Mrs. Kiki Maymay's ears are very sensitive to the thunder rumble of the microphone. It's much louder for her than it is for the rest of us. And so when it gets silent in the room, during the 2 minutes of silence and then the microphone is disturbed, Kiki hears it. I know. We were at the women's retreat a couple of weeks ago and someone had a service dog with them, and Reverend Donna and I, part of our service, mainly Reverend Donna, was to have a sound bath for the group that was there. And as soon as the bowl started, we saw the dog's ears just go like this. And I was like, oh no. And so we had a lot of eye contact with the doggy during that event. Just letting him know all was okay. And by the end of it, he was, yeah, belly up. So sometimes just a little extra recognition on Kiki. I know, they work hard to take care of us. So before we start this morning, I thought a little movement would be good. Try to imagine what it's like to be your favorite flower. Like, not already, but just starting to burst from the bud. Just starting to do that. What would it be like? And there's this great song that works really well for this. So, if you're able and willing, I invite you to stand. And if not, then I invite you to sit in your chair and practice just a little gentle movement and imagine what it would be like to be your favorite flower, unable to not bloom. Like, they don't have a choice. So,
unable to not bloom.
unable
to, okay.
Yeah. So, like, you don't want to bloom because you're timid or you're cold or whatever, but you just can't. Like, the spirit inside is so strong that even sometimes you have to come up through concrete.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to bloom. What is that like?
I'm exhausted. I feel like I'm in acting class.
After it opens, it starts going like.
After a while.
And then a big seed.
Nice.
Power in you to bloom. Thank you, Amy Steinberg.
Thanks, Amy.
What a surprise.
She started writing that song at our retreat several years ago. And it was fun to hear her talk about the flower and, don't stop, can't stop, wanna pop, gotta pop. Like I imagine this flower I just can't.
Can't not.
Right? Those double negatives, they're my favorite. Oh, goodness. Okay. Whew. Spring makes me do things different. I was telling Reverend Donna on the way here, I said, what is it about spring? It's like I spend time writing something that I'm going to talk about. And then Spirit says, I have another idea on the way to church. And so, and this really isn't part of the talk, but I have to tell the story. We were on our way here this morning, and we start to see all these cars braking on the freeway in front of us, coming off that off-ramp to 126 right before you come downtown. And I'm like, why are all the cars slowing down? And so we see these two Canada geese just wandering, and then of course the babies that they were trying to corral out of the freeway. And the immediate response, of course, is we watched these cars all stop and create this little like cubby and redirect the birds to the side of the road with their flashers and their brake lights. And I'm from the Bay Area in California. I've not seen those things happen there. I feel like it would have been a very different scenario. So it was just so affirming. I'm glad we live here, first of all. That's such a great human nature that is just always present. Always present. I don't know those people. I don't know those people, and they believe what I believe, or if they, what they do in their personal life. No. But we all had something in common in that moment. We wanted those little birds to survive. So, let's take a deep breath. Just take a deep breath for me. So, feel your feet on the ground and the aliveness that hopefully you feel right now in your body, the way that I do after blooming to that song. That's what today's about. It's about claiming space that is already ours. It's already yours. And we really don't have to do anything to do that except remember that the space that we are in is our own. And we get to remember that. That song, Feed the Birds, as Susan said, it's just like on the way that the smallest act of presence, the simplest gesture of love can shift an entire atmosphere. And that's what I felt on the freeway this morning. I've seen a lot of movies, and I have to wonder, okay, if those geese hadn't been there, could there have been an accident? Like, who knew? Maybe there was a reason they were there. So I loved blooming with you all. Thank you. And it wasn't choreographed. Like, it was just like what we want, right? And it's because that's about consciousness. Each of us is an expression of life, and we're always unfolding, whether we believe it or not, always expanding and always blooming. That's funny, what just went through my mind. Okay, if I'm always blooming, I need to mind my smell, right? Like, make sure I'm blooming positively and not, blooming with negativity. Yeah, don't ad-lib, Lynda. Okay, so.
It was relevant.
I've never seen a flower or plants that like bloom timidly or that ask permission to bloom. And yesterday I was out in the yard, and if you walked up the front walk this morning, you may have seen the rhododendron out there that is blooming just so beautifully, unapologetically, and she's so radiant. And of course she is. Blooming is her nature, right? And it's our nature too. It's our nature to bloom. And this morning when I walked up, I also noticed all these little colorful pinwheels in the yard. It just lit up the color of the front yard. And I think a little volunteer named Kathy Gunker put those up in front of the house. And they're spinning and they're gently catching the breeze and adding a very playful burst of color, which I appreciate. And thank you, Kathy. But it struck me how the blooming of the rhodie and the creativity of Kathy were kind of working together to create a welcoming environment for our community. And each in their own way. And together they complement each other. They're not competing. So claiming our divine birthright and allowing ourselves to unfold in our own season, not telling each other how to bloom, in our own way, is the same thing as like a flower opening up to the sun. What would Spirit have for my life today? Ernest Holmes, our founder, the founder of Science of Mind, says there's nothing to heal and only the truth to reveal. And the truth that reveals itself through us is that we, all of us, are expressions of the one life. We're radiant, necessary, and inherently worthy of the space that we are in. Inherently worthy. I think of the airport or subway, if any of you have been to a big city, and or the airport tram, when it's super crowded, and feeling like I'm fighting for my space, especially when I had a wheelchair need, and it was in a wheelchair. Like there was this feel like I'm constantly fighting for the space that I need to move to the world. And what I was forgetting is that space isn't granted by Spirit. It's already here. It's already innate, and I'm already in the space that I'm in, and it's mine, and I get to own it. I look back on my formal lives, and I spent a lot of time waiting, waiting to be invited, waiting to be validated, waiting to be certain, waiting to feel ready. But then I found a community like this one. And I figured out that being ready readiness isn't something that I have to earn, right? Readiness is something that gets uncovered. It gets uncovered through blooming as our authentic selves. We don't step into space by competing for it. At least I try not to. I step into it by allowing what's already within me to come forward. Now that may not feel, relevant to, well, I guess it could be an airport tram. I mean, I can be in my space and own my space and be my peaceful self, or I can be on guard. And it's a choice. And I'm not saying either one is right or wrong, but I know what I feel inside. I know the difference between owning my space and feeling good about that extra few minutes that I have to enjoy the ride, or I can be on guard and worried about everyone else that's around me, and the fact that they're not getting up and leaving space for people that need it, or whatever the thing is that I want to judge in that moment, because it is so easy. It is so easy to judge others for the way they're blooming and not focus on my own blooming. So, Michael Beckwith, Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith, Doctor of Reverend, whichever title comes first. He's Rev Doctor? Okay, from Agape. He says, you are not here to get anything. What? You're not here to get anything. You're here to let something unfold through you. And I think of the word unfolding, and I think again of blooming. You know, when flowers bloom, they unfold. They peel back those layers that have been protecting that sensitive petal that is just waiting to be all the flower's uniqueness. And when we bloom bright, and when we allow ourselves to bloom that way, unapologetically, then it becomes an act of collaboration. Collaboration with spirit and collaboration in community. With our group here, when one flower blooms, the entire garden shifts. And we see it. We got a front door and it's like, pop. Won't stop, gotta pop. You know what she said? But that's how I felt when I looked at the door. I'm like, oh, there's something great is happening. And so when you stand in your truth, it creates room for others to do the same. And what's been happening here at the Lighthouse is new ideas all the time. People stepping forward, leadership rising even more than what I might have imagined, at least this soon. You know, I think it's great. There's lots of creativity sparking and generosity flowing. And it feels like the community is blooming. Our entire garden is blooming, not just one flower, not just one plant, you know. And so I've recognized that for me, blooming bright, I don't have to be the most visible flower. You know, I could just contribute to the garden, to the field of consciousness. That place that Rumi called that field between right and wrong. And it's a field of love and a field of possibility. So when I bloom, I give everyone permission to bloom. Every other flower in the garden, that could be the garden of this home, the garden of this community, the garden of, and not just of the people that are like-minded or likely spiritual-minded, but of the Orthodox Church down the street, and of the people with different affiliations than I have politically, people that are going to vote differently than me this coming week. It's all the same garden. And it all needs to bloom for spirit to have its highest and best expression, because we're all parts of spirit. So I want the blooming best for me, and I want blooming bright for everyone else. Everyone else. So taking a look at claiming our divine space, our divine birthright, it's important to remember that we already have all the space we need. We don't need to grasp for more. It's about letting yourself carry a natural tone, and one that's natural to you, and to speak your authentic self without trying to self-edit. I don't know if anybody else tries to do that. But even myself this morning, you know, I arrive here on Sunday morning, and I'm not always ready to greet the public. and then I set what I feel like is a decent boundary, but then I still feel bad about it. And I'm in that self-editing mode. And so again, it's sitting back and remembering, which is why, you know, on Sunday mornings I try to remain centered, is because that's all that's ever happening, is spirit's highest and best expression. I mean, if I get into a place where I feel like that's not what's happening, then I am not blooming my brightest. I am not, you know, I'm letting my little tentacles or stamen or whatever those things in the flowers just tuck right back in and not do their thing. And I've seen flowers that shrink a little, and that is not me. I am not a shrinking flower. So I have to ask myself, is this my authentic expression? To be apologetic for being in my true and divine right space. So I think it's really interesting. It's an interesting balance to walk, but I'm glad to have the opportunity to look at that. So claiming space is an act of spiritual honesty. Claiming your space, setting your boundaries, being able to, if any of you have seen the movie For Good, The Wicked for Good, Lynda, she had the coolest trick, Lynda the Good Witch. All she did was go like this. And boom, there was a big old bubble, and nothing's touching her. She would go like that, and the bubble would pop, and there she blooming bright and completely protected from anything else that could get in the way of her bloom. So, When we claim our space, we're not pushing outward. We're expanding inward. And that's what I wanted to say today. It's important to be in alignment with who you are if you want to move through the world feeling good about who you are and in your life, the way that you're living it. I just want to say, if that rhododendron hadn't bloomed the way that it did, or if Kathy hadn't put the pinwheels out in front, the house would not have the same feel today that it does. Every act of blooming matters. Every act of blooming shifts the garden. So with that said, I have a question. What's the one area, or is there an area of your life where you sense life inviting you to open up and bloom? Ooh. Or to claim space that's already yours, that you've been giving away? Sure.
So, I like that last part, to claim space that's already yours. Many years ago, when I was a wee lass.
Your homeland.
This is the last we heard.
Previously.
Wait a minute, I wanna lift my feet.
I used to walk around, head down, shoulders, you know, they call it like a turtle. Like this. And somebody kept pushing my head up, you know, when we would be walking together, they like this, open, heart chakra forward, because that's what I was doing, was protecting. It was a protection mode. And one day we were walking, and I think they just got completely fed up with me. I was like, just stop. And there was some building there with big windows. They said, look at yourself in the mirror, in the reflection of the window. And I did. I looked at myself, and they were like, I want you to stand up, and I want you to put your arms out. And I want you to look at that. And I want you to see that this is your personal space where you can reach out, where you can reach forward, where you can reach above, where you can reach behind. All of this is your personal space. And nothing can come inside of it without your permission, and nothing can be taken from it without your permission. This is your personal space. Own it. Own it. My personal space at the time was very small, and it was internal. And so from there, I started practicing in the mirror in the mornings, claiming my space and remembering. And I loved what you said about Lynda. She stamped her foot, and her personal space became a visual experience. And we can do the same. And in that space, I get to be whatever flower I want. I get to be my authentic self at any time, in any situation. And nothing can be taken from me without my permission. And nothing can be added in to my bubble unless I allow it in. So that was what I received from your talk today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now I'm good.
Go back in the shell.
I've been working on this new book, running this new book forever, and your talk today, the notion of blossoming, letting the book blossom, was relevant to me. And yesterday I went with Sandra to a meditation, And I realized, as meditating, that I was kind of locked up, and that the procrastination resulting from kind of anxiety, where God knows where that came from. But by just focusing on the breathing and kind of relaxing, allow a feeling of blossoming. And last night I actually spent over an hour working on the book and saying I'm not going to let other things get in the way of that daily blossoming.
Thank you, that was very helpful for me to hear.
I don't need the microphone. I don't
Yes, you
think
do.
so.
Yes,
Okay.
you.
Others need you to have the microphone.
You especially need the microphone. Okay. Sometimes you can see somebody that just needs a little water. And so I've had many times, especially at Sister Spirit this last time, where I got really busy and anxious and stuff, and quite often somebody would come up and say, stop and breathe, and they would hold me until I took a couple of really big breaths, you know, and to me that was them watering me, you know, just like when you were walking with your head down, that was somebody watering you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
What about in the choir, even in the choir?
Anyone in the choir? Choir room? Marla?
I deal with a lot of anxiety, and I'm learning to love myself and do a lot of meditation, and it's actually healing my body. So I'm not as achy and complaining because I know that the higher energy is looking out for me, and I'm expanding inside and out. And no one's gonna steal my joy. I am very protective of my joy these days. Thank you.
Thank you, Marla.
I've been consciously pushing myself to bloom, okay? And when I had gotten the Emerald newsletter, it was like this garden was there with just all your activities and, you know, things that were going to be coming up in this month and so on. And I love the spring. I love the spring in any city. Spring. And when I mean that I'm trying new things, I'm finding myself. Like this meditation that we did yesterday, I've lived 4 months down the block from the center. And finally I went. And it reminded me of a Zen center in Mill Valley. And it was nothing like I felt before, except I'm home, you know, and that's what I'm trying to build. You know, I have a family here, I have a family at another center, I have a family somewhere else, you know, but I'm looking for an anchor. The family of from the roots, like your garden.
Thank you, Cynthia. Sure? Okay. Well, I certainly appreciate everyone talking about. Well, I heard a lot of how to help others bloom, but I also heard about those that want to bloom and are blooming. Yes, spread your love. There are so many good places to get your spiritual on here in Eugene. And it doesn't all happen on Sunday. So I encourage you to check our newsletter, and not just our newsletter, but I think it's the Conscious Community calendar on Meetup.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of good things happening here in Eugene, and we'd love to host them all here. But there are baby steps. You'll hear more when I'm after our benediction here about some opportunities we have. But just take a breath in with me, if you will, and just get into your talking to spirit pose, whatever that looks like for you. Perhaps soften your gaze. But I invite you to know with me that there is only one life, and one presence, one infinite intelligence, blooming itself everywhere in the trees, in the flowers, in the breath we're taking right now. This life, your life, my life is whole, radiant, and expressing uniquely through each of us. I recognize that each person here is an individual expression of the divine, carrying a birthright of worthiness, and creativity, and spaciousness. There is no shrinking in God. There is only unfolding. So I speak this word for each of us, that we remember our nature, that we honor the space already given, that we open in our own timing, and that our blooming becomes a blessing to the world. I know that as we bloom individually, our community blooms collectively in love, in service, in joy, and in truth. I give thanks for this remembering, I give thanks for this blooming, and I give thanks for this life. And so it is.
So it is.
I'd like to invite up whoever is next.
I think it's you.
It's me.
One of you needs to bloom.
I'm blooming.
Bloom it good.
Can I just tell you how much I love you all?
Well, you can tell us that anytime.
I know. I'm listening to Mark. I can hear Mark's head. Lynda, sit down. You're done talking. but really, I'm so excited that, I'm going to call out John here, who may or may not be able to hear me, because I know he comes for the company.
He just makes you think he's not listening.
But, to really go through it with the body, and I'll let you talk with John if he wants to share, but, it's not easy for him to get out of the house. But he said, you know what, I don't want to be on my couch. I want to bloom. I hear stories like that all the time, and it makes me so excited about the lighthouse. So, John, I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. I'm going to plant the seed that we bloom some wireless mics real soon.